lights. No more rehearsing and nursing apart. We know every card by heart. Overture, curtain lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights. And oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it.
This is it. Fade it down.
I have a chip stuck in my tooth.
See, now we're going to get fined.
Okay, turn it off, turn off. Fade away.
Oh, boy.
Warner Brothers is already on to us.
Who do we have to pay to get that thing turned down before the singing comes back on again? Who do we have to be? Who do I have to shtup? Yeah,
hey! Oh, that made him mad.
Okay.
That made him mad.
I'm going to talk. Wrong with that.
I'm going to talk very quietly.
Hey, man, y'all got to make up your mind. Every time I turn it down, you complain.
No.
You gotta be
You want me to play it back to
Incorrect.
We told you because you would turn it down the wrong times, and then you turn it on at the wrong time. So you didn't. You had your timing was completely effed
instrumental
up.
piece that's got to go down. Otherwise, the Facebook, all the
and the instrumental part.
Hey, man, I'm gonna edit it to like 25 seconds.
Yeah, that's it. Otherwise, the Zuckler youth are going
to still
come out and slap our patties and do very bad things to us. Yes, you will not play this song any longer than 30 seconds on the dot. Yes, of course. Yeah, freaking guys. I'll tell you what. So I'm sorry. You were
what?
Calming yourself or something?
Well, because I just listened to our spot for PJ's Pancakes.
Oh, right.
Which is downstairs.
Delicious.
Full bar.
Delicious.
Great pancakes.
Delicious.
And my voice is like 10 times louder than yours. And not for nothing, I was a communications major.
Me too.
You can turn down the levels. You can adjust levels.
Is that right?
You can do it.
Testing,
you can adjust the levels so that the person who's so loud can be
for
quieter.
proper modulation. Testing, 1, 2.
And then when was like, oh, I lowered your voice. And then it's not true. That's such a lie. That's the biggest lie ever. That's such a big lie. You can bring a person's voice down till it's like muted.
I'm sorry, what?
Exactly.
I didn't hear you.
You know what I'm saying? I don't understand what happened there.
I don't know. Hot mic. I don't
understand. I was like so much louder than you, like to the point where it was like obnoxious. You know what I mean? Like I love a good character voice, but when I sound like that loud, like if I was listening, I'd be like, why is that girl so freaking loud? And it's because
the pancakes are so good.
The pancakes are so good.
Hello?
Yeah, that's why. We brought your voice down. Really, we did. And we brought his up. Really, we did. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You lie. Such a liar.
Well, the proof will be in the pudding.
We're going to
get that thing. What?
Let's play it right now. Let's play it for the people so they can see how freaking loud I am and how apparently they lowered my voice, apparently, in production. Because, you can't lower it anymore because it's not possible. Because it's at 11, and they can't go lower than 11.
It's already got 11.
It's at 11.
Why don't you just make 10 louder?
Well, exactly.
Because
it's 11. Because it's 11. That's what happened. My voice was at 11, and they said, oh, we did lower your voice, but they couldn't because you know why? It was at 11. Yours was just at a regular, like, normal level, like 6 or 7.
I was about like a 7.5.
Yeah. But they said, oh, no, we put his up. And I said, really?
What?
Because mine was at 11, and yours was, but they
maybe an 8, but like a 7.5.
But, it wasn't there. You can't adjust it anymore because it's stuck. It doesn't stuck. Like the little levels on the mixing board is stuck.
Do you see the horse over there? I think it's dead.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll talk about it for an hour. You know why? Because I didn't say anything when we were in there. That's why. So I had to let it out. I kept my mouth shut in there when they were like, oh, yeah.
In the green room.
Yeah, I kept my mouth shut. But now I'm on air. I'm going to say whatever I want.
A.
You think my laptop's on if I start playing something?
I don't know. Could it be?
You want to try it and see what happens?
To have a party.
I'm going to put money down that we can hear it.
What are we going to listen to?
None of your business. It's a surprise.
It's my business.
Well, it's a surprise. Can I surprise you?
Sure.
Why can't I surprise you?
I didn't say that. I didn't know it was a surprise. You're being like, 4th grade, and then you're BI business. Oh,
yeah,
okay,
because
fine.
I'm a 4th grader.
No, you're not.
Okay, let me see if this plays. I'm going to see. I'm testing. Because every time I do this, they go, oh, what? Let me
testing.
Just see if I can hear it.
We are testing this out for proper modulation.
Let's see.
Welcome, everybody, to TD Gardens in Boston, Massachusetts, where it's the Boston Bruins and the St. Louis Blues. Game 6, do or die.
Game 7.
Was a barn burner with the Bruins coming out on top, which is forcing a Game 7. Hi, I'm Chet, you betcha, along with, what's your name again, sweetie?
I'm the biggest Bruins fan in Boston. I have my Dunkin' coffee and my Marble Lights, and I'm ready for the Bruins. Go Bees!
Aren't you related to the drunk girl who's always bridesmaid, the drunk bridesmaid?
I love the Bees. Don't talk to me about what I drink, okay? I like Budweiser. I like Carlsberg. I like Miller. That's the beers that I drink.
Where do you go in the morning for getting yourself together?
Well, I hang out at where do I hang out?
At the Donkeys.
At the Donkeys. That's where I go to Donkeys. I go to Donkeys. I get myself a cola. I get myself a nice coffee. I hang out.
You eat over to Wahlburgers?
I go to Wahlburgers. Yeah, I go to Wahlburgers.
Of course.
Yeah. So this is I don't know about this part. I never heard this part. It's always just the beginning. It's only the beginning you hear. You don't know the rest is just.
So yeah, the Bees are going 3-3. Were you?
I love this. This makes me cry. First of all,
worried?
Was I worried? I was pissing my pants. Was I worried? It's not. This is what happens.
Get back into life with Depends.
I was. You know what it is? It's because. Everybody hates Boston, I get it. And everybody says the same thing to me. It's so stupid. The stupidest thing.
Say?
Any fan who says this, non-fan, I should say, or New Jerseyite that I meet in my life in the 4 years I've lived here, they say the stupidest crap to me. Like, really get a life. Like, learn about the sport, okay? This is what they say. Boston's won enough. Let somebody else win. You know how many people have said that to me?
Why? That's not smart.
Boston's won enough. Why aren't you letting other people win? First of all, just win. If the other teams want to win. I can't control it. You can't control it. If they're not winning, whose problem is that? Why is it Boston's fault?
It's not. Like I say to my guys with football.
So weird.
Coach, man, we really, I don't know how, this is horrible. We should have beat those other guys. How come?
But you didn't.
I said, you didn't.
Right.
Well, what are we going to do? I said, well, I'm
win.
not going to do anything. I'm coaching you. I'm telling you how to do this. Do better next time.
Next time. Right. And this is the craziest. I think that's the weirdest. And it's not the first time. I've had several people say that to me. Same, when the Patriots won, again, why don't you let somebody else win?
No,
cheaters.
You don't
it's because they're cheaters. I go, okay.
They cheat, they don't
7
cheat.
times must be 7 cheating
you
times.
Don't let people win.
Red Sox win. They go, okay, and this is my favorite. They go, Red Sox, who cares? And then this season, they're not doing as well. And people are like, you see the Red Sox are not doing that good. I said, so what? I said, they won the World Series last year, number one. Number two, it's still very early in the season, okay? It's not like we're at the end of the season.
We're just a little over a third of the way in.
You know what I mean? But they have to say something.
Please.
Then we get to Celtics, who actually did very well. They didn't get as far, and I think that was Kyrie's fault. That's
Playoffs.
Just me. But
here, this just in. The two New York basketball teams, one of them just didn't even make the playoffs,
right.
and the other one was punted out summarily.
Sure.
2 out of the 3 New York area hockey teams didn't even get a sniff at postseason. Mm-hmm. Now the Islanders did; they did okay, but they only got so far. But you know what? Hey, they weren't supposed to do squat, and
right.
They were a tough team. So to have the Bruins doing what they are, to have the Patriots, as much as I am not, as you know, I'm not a Patriots fan, but I'm a football fan, I'm a sports fan. Have the Patriots do what they do, to have the Celtics get, after some crummy years, get back into postseason, and who am I missing? Oh, the Red Sox.
Right.
How long was it that they had nothing?
Sure.
Okay?
Curse of the Bambino.
Please. I remember this was the last World Series with my grandfather in September and October. He passed in December. It was the Red Sox and the Reds from Cincinnati, as my grandfather would say, in 1975.
Sure.
That was the Carlton Fisk.
Yes.
home run, okay? That was a great series, but they missed it by this much. I think they had another sniff at it back in the mid to late 60s that they missed.
Sure.
You know,
They came close a lot.
Couple few.
Sure.
Okay, with my Mets in '86. Sorry, but you know what it was. What it
Well,
was.
the Mets killed the Yankees last night, man. Oof.
Yeah, but the Yankees
Oof.
killed the Mets yesterday afternoon, so it was a wash.
Oh.
It was a doubleheader yesterday.
No, but I saw last night's.
Yeah.
No, I knew that they
That was
lost.
game 2.
No, I knew they lost the afternoon and won the evening, but the score in the evening one was fantastic.
Well, they lost by 7 in the first game, and they won by 6 in the second game.
Oh, I thought they lost. I didn't realize it was that much
Yeah.
of a deficit.
Oh, yeah.
So they're pretty much even. Okay.
Even Steven. I'm okay with that.
I guess I
you
didn't
know?
watch the afternoon. I just watched the evening game. That's
Well,
with the Mets
doing
and the
a little
Yankees.
something called, what is it? That's right, work. Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see that. I knew they lost, but I didn't realize it was that
No,
big.
you know, they
but
just
I did
didn't have
watch.
it,
You
but-
know what I mean? I watched when
No, it was
last night.
and
so.
it was entertaining, you know. But
Yeah.
but to the Boston teams, listen. Yes, I'm a Mets fan. I'm a Giants fan. I'm good. Once the old Colorado Rockies moved from Colorado to New Jersey, I'm not rabid, but I'm a nice Devils fan.
Sure.
I don't mind the Rangers or the Isles.
Sure.
Okay. I don't mind the Jets. I'm okay
Sure,
with the
I'm
Jets.
all right with that.
I'm not a huge Yankee guy, but you
That's
know
why
what?
we get along.
There are guys on the team
Sure.
who I think are just fantastic. I've
Yeah.
always been like that.
I agreed.
You know,
I
back to
agree.
like Thurman Munson and all them. You know, Ron Guidry and Craig Nettles back in the '70s. I mean, I didn't like the Yanks, but I liked those guys.
Sure.
So for somebody like me, okay, which I wouldn't do, to say you gotta let somebody else win. No, here's the thing: you don't let.
And how do you let? Right.
No.
That's
You
so
don't do
stupid.
that. You know, players want to play and players want to win. And sometimes you don't. Like back to my football here this year, the Monmouth Rage. We had a decent season-ish, you know, for the first season of this incarnation of the team. 4 wins, 6 losses, and one of the wins I will say was a forfeit. So basically 3 wins, 6 losses. Okay? There are teams having founded the league that we're in back in 2005. There are new teams that have come into the Great Eastern Football Association playing 8-man outdoor football who have not won a game, who have won 1 game, or maybe lucked into winning 2 games for the first 2 or 3 seasons of their existence. The guys who were the reigning champions and may very well be the 6th time now reigning GEFA champions, when I brought them into the league 10 years ago, they stunk the joint up for about 3, 4, 5 years. And all of a sudden, wham! They're solid and they're tight.
Nice.
Nobody, and they didn't let the other teams win back then. They just weren't good enough. Now, they're not letting other teams. They beat our butts. It was like 63-6. It was not good. So you don't let the other guys win. You play to win.
And that's what it is. And
whether
if
you're the Monmouth
it's
Rage or
Bruins,
the
it's
Boston
Bruins. I mean, it is what it is. You know, and I understand how St. Louis and a lot of people who are non-Boston want St. Louis because St. Louis has never won. And I get that. But we haven't won the Stanley Cup since 2011. It's been some time. It's not like it was last year or the year before. It's been a little bit of time. And I understand how people want St. Louis, but I don't care. It's my team, and I want the Bruins to win. But it is, it's been a very, very, very physical series.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
I
boy.
mean, I feel like I'm watching UFC sometimes when I watch this
Sometimes.
game. And you saw that Chara got his jaw broken
Yep.
and was friggin' playing the next, didn't care, with his big cage on his head. He didn't care.
Players want to play.
Yeah, he didn't care.
Players want to
people
play.
with concussions playing, and people with bloody noses and broken elbows and all kinds of crap on the ice. And let me tell you something. Anybody who downplays hockey is an ass because
No.
hockey is
Great
the
sport.
hardest sport. It is, besides the fact, the physicality of it, and it's not as physical. It is for this series, but like it was in like the 70s and 80s. I mean, it was physical. I mean, they used to beat the crap out of each other. Just watch Slapshot. You'll see it. That was real. I mean, that's the way it was.
Yeah, it was.
But and I know people are like, I don't like hockey. I'm a football person. I'm like, listen, hockey is the hardest thing to play because not only is it extremely physical, but you're on skates.
Yeah.
And you have a stick.
Yeah.
And you have to chase a puck. And you have to skate backwards and forwards. If you're not a good skater, you can't play. So it's not just about.
That's why I
you
never
know,
played.
You have to be aggressive. You have to know how to skate. You have to handle a puck. You have to know how to shoot into a net. You have to. I mean, it's like ridiculous. It's not just running and tackling.
You have to know the plays.
It's not
because
running
there are
around the
plays
bases.
You got to know how to pass the puck. You have to know how to check properly.
You're
and sometimes
skates.
it gets a little. I can't skate.
It's
I always
crazy.
wanted to skate.
Sure.
I always wanted to learn on hockey skates. I never did. And at 54 years of age plus,
I'd
I'm
love
not
to get
doing
you
it.
on skates.
Oh, I'm like Frankenstein.
I would love to get you.
Oh,
I skate,
nope.
but I would love to get you on skates.
No thanks.
Next winter.
I'm busy that day.
Now, what if I just like hold your hand like a little baby? Like, come on, Johnny.
That's basically
Come on,
what it would be.
Johnny.
It's exactly what it would be. It would be horrible.
You can do it, Johnny. Come on. Come on, Johnny. You can do it.
big giant
and you'll be like,
oaf,
oh, mama, mama.
A little elfin woman, and then this big giant oaf.
Oh, my God. It'd be so cute.
No.
It'd be so cute. You know what I'll do? I'll get a picture of your mom. Rest in peace, your mom, and put it right on me, just like your mommy, because that would inspire you. That would make you skate. That would make you skate. I'd wear mother's face right on my face, just so you can follow me.
Yeah.
I would do that for your inspiration. I would do
Mother
that for
and
you.
Dad took me skating when I was, I'm thinking, 5 at East Brunswick's Municipal Pond in front of the municipal building where the library used to be. And it used to get cold enough back then to where, it would freeze for an appreciable amount of time. So they had the thing open. People would have hot cocoa going. They would have little snacks and stuff, and they would have somebody from East Brunswick Township, sort of keeping an eye on things, kind of a skating lifeguard, so to speak. And we'd skate. We'd go there. And I was 5, and I had the double blades.
So cute.
The
So
double
cute. Wait, did you
blades.
have the milk crate?
No.
Because the little kids, if you go to the rink, they have a milk crate, and they're skating holding the milk crate. It is
No.
the most adorable thing ever. I love it. I
Just
love
double
skating.
blades. So I was
beautiful.
more stable.
Oh, you're adorable.
And then,
Did
we would do
Did baby
that.
fall down?
Of course I fell
Baby
down.
fall down and go boom?
Of course I didn't. I just shook it off. I kind of was like, all right, whatever.
And you didn't stick with it.
No, it didn't. It's cold. I'm not a.
It's cold. There's another thing.
It's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah, but these guys, they come off after their shift and they're just perspiring
Oh,
like
yeah.
nobody's business
Like
because
what
of all the
that game is crazy.
physicality.
Anybody who doesn't, let me tell you something. I've been to many games. More so, I've actually been to hundreds of baseball games. I can't even count. Been to a ton of hockey,
I love
a
going
few
to the hockey
basketballs,
games.
a few footballs. But man, hockey games live is like amazing.
Nothing better.
It's amazing.
When they had the Titans over here, Frank used to work for them, with them, and it was a lot of fun. There was this one guy who said, okay, watch whatever number it was. Watch number 26. Why? What's going to happen? Well, it's probably going to be from late second through third period. He's going to get in a fight, and he's just going to go nuts. Really? Yeah, it's like he doesn't even see.
Crazy.
So what do you mean? He said, this guy, he gets so into it that he literally says, Frank, I see white, and I don't know what I'm doing until they pull me off the other guy.
That's
Sure
insane.
enough, about halfway through the third period, there he goes. You, 5 for fighting.
I love it. I love it. I love hockey. I love hockey.
But going
Number
live
one
is
for me.
great.
Oh, it's amazing. It is an
I enjoy
amazing thing to see. I
wish
wish
I could
I
skate.
wish I was in Boston right now. I really wish I was in Boston. But here's the thing, and I love my team, but I think it would give me too much anxiety to be at a game, and if we're not playing as well as we should, and I'm not going to jinx myself here, but I have terrible anxiety when I watch my teams and they're not doing well. Like I start to palpitations. So when we're in the any kind of series, whether it be baseball, whatever it is, football, if I'm watching the game and say it's tied, I have to switch the channel. And part of me should be like, this is exciting. You should see what's going to happen. But the other part of me is like, if it doesn't go my way, it hurts me, physically. I physically feel like I'm the one playing, which I'm not, but I physically feel ill if my team doesn't do well. And if my team gets hurt, if anybody gets hurt, like when I saw Chara go down with his broken jaw, I literally go, oh my God, what am I going to do? Oh my God, what are we going to do? It affects me.
I hear you.
So I have to deviate to keep my sanity.
Listen, let me tell you something. I'm not far off of that either. I should say, Game 6, 86, Mets and Red Sox.
Yep.
That's when Bill Buckner had his
Oh,
little
the Buckner,
hiccup.
yeah.
And P.S. Bill Buckner.
He just passed away. Rest in peace,
what a
Bill.
great player and a good guy.
Good person.
And I have heard through his career. I remember when he played for the Dodgers, but I digress. So I was dating a girl out in who was going to college. She was a senior. I had just graduated the year previous. She was a senior. She lived above a like a local tavern. Sandwiches, beers. We all went to Botdorf's or Bots
Nice.
Cafe.
Bots.
Okay? And she lived right above. And we're sitting in her apartment watching the game. Her mom was out for Parents' Weekend. There were some other folks who were there. I forget who. It doesn't matter. Maybe her brother and maybe the mom's boyfriend or whatever, because she was, seeing some dude. And we're watching the Red Sox game. And it gets to the ninth inning. And it gets to the top of the ninth. And or whenever the Mets were up. I forget if it was home or away. Doesn't matter. Gets to the Mets half of the ninth inning. There's 2 out. And, as it's going, she just looks over at me and mouths to me, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Please." And she said, "You know what, Mom, Chris, Bill, whatever the guy's name, let's go down. Let's go down and just leave John alone," because I was literally on the verge of of having an absolute
It's emotional
breakdown because they were so good all year.
Yep.
And then we got 1 out. We were down to our last out, as Gary Cohen on the Mets broadcast would say. And then Ray Knight gets a hit, and then I can see the guy from left field, left fielder gets a hit, and then Mookie does his thing, and Bill, God love him, misses the ball, and the Mets win the ball game.
Yep.
I went down about 20 minutes later after I collected myself because I'm like jumping up and down and got crazy conkers, and I go down and they're all in the bar, and she's like, "Is it over? I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Yeah, it's over." The Mets won.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean,
But
just
poor
the
Buckner.
agony, literally, and the ecstasy within like 10 minutes.
Poor Buckner. Terrible. But he was a good guy.
He's off to the next big adventure. And
Yes, he is.
We have to stay here.
Up in heaven.
Great.
Up in heaven.
Right.
Hey, Billy. Yeah.
I get it, though. I get it.
Yeah,
Forgive me.
tonight-
When is Game 7? Tonight?
Tonight. Yeah, as soon as I get home, it's on. Do you know, the Red Sox actually changed the time of their game in order to make sure their fans saw the finals? So,
Is that right?
Well, the Red Sox game was supposed to be tonight.
Sure.
They moved it to this afternoon.
Good for
so
them.
That
That's a class move.
That's Boston, man. I love that town.
Tell you
I
what.
freaking love my town. I miss it so much. I really miss Boston a lot. I will end up back there. I think that's where I'm going to retire. Even the winters are harsh, man. That's the only thing that sucks.
You play your cards
Well-
right. You can have a little nook down south.
Well, that's what I'm
someplace.
saying. What I need is a lot of money. So what I do is I have a little place in Boston for the summer, a little place I can go do in the summer. That's where I'm. And then the winters be
Fall
like a
is nice, I
snowbird.
imagine, in
Fall is
Massachusetts.
amazing. Fall is amazing. And then in the winter, the cold winter, I go to Florida. That's what I want.
Have yourself a nice New England
a dream.
Thanksgiving, and then I'm
It's a
out of
dream.
here. See you April 1st.
Did
Just in time for baseball season.
John?
Yeah.
I love being right.
Get in line. So do I. And the only thing I love more than being right is hearing and or seeing myself when I am right.
I love being right. I love being right.
What have you done?
Who on this show, long time ago, said Bradley Cooper, Lady Gaga? Who said it? I did. I
when
did.
they sat on that
I did.
show at the piano,
I did.
what was that? They did that
They
song?
did well at the
Live.
Oscars. That was the From the Star Is Born, the movie they're in.
Yeah.
And everybody, but I had seen prior to
Oh,
that.
they're acting.
Right,
Like,
and
oh,
I
no.
had seen them prior to that, and she did a show in Vegas, and he came up stage on stage in Vegas. This was prior to the Oscars,
Right.
And it was she looked like she was so in love. She had a look of love in her eyes on both occasions, and I went online.
That's the look.
The look of love.
The look of love.
And I went online,
The look
and I'm
of
like going
love.
back and forth in the Twitterverse, and I'm like, listen. That is love. If you don't think it's love, you're crazy. And it was like, it's acting. Was Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, was that acting? No.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. Well, now it's divorce, but I mean,
Oh.
either way. And so
Happens.
what do I read? And then I posted it, and you actually, I
There it
think you
is.
liked it.
I
He
did.
broke up with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Now, she broke up with her fiance.
I'll be damned.
He broke up with his girlfriend, his baby's mama. Now they're both single.
Do the math.
I'm telling you, they're doing it. I don't know if it's going to come out. I don't know when it'll be. But He's single, she's single. They're in bed right now laughing it up, saying these people thought we were acting. They thought we were acting.
You called that like back in the winter.
That's I sure did.
Back in the winter.
Not Rob. I sure did. So I just want to say I like when I'm right because people were literally yelling at me on like Facebook,
Oh,
Twitter.
I know.
This is acting. You don't know. This is acting. He would never do
You
that to
even
her.
know.
Like, she's a model, meaning like his girlfriend. She's a model and she has his baby. He would never do that. I go, first of all, A, yes he would, and B, do you not understand what's going on in Hollywood? It's Hollywood. This isn't real life, kids. This isn't like freaking, Joe and Barbara.
Joe and Bob.
Or Bob.
Not that there's anything wrong with
Nothing
that.
wrong with that. Down the street,
Right.
and you're like talking about them. This is like Hollywood. Anything goes because it's Hollywood. And you're on a movie set for months together, sharing
Right,
intimate moments.
Hollywood.
Even though it's like acting, you bond with people.
Of course.
And it's just like it's like the workplace. Okay, movies are the workplace for them, right?
That's where they work.
How many people go to work and see men or women that they're attracted to, and they fall in love at work? It
Men at
happens
work.
all the time, and that's their workplace, and they fell in love, and they're going to be together. And when that happens, and it becomes public, I will be sitting here going, "I told you so."
Boom.
Drop the mic. Boom. Drop the mic.
That's where Jamie and I met.
At work, exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I just think it's very strange that all of a sudden she broke up with her fiance, and then several months later he breaks up with his girlfriend, and now they're just both single. Oh, that's curious. I was born at night, but not last night, baby.
Word.
Let me tell you, what's going on in the DR, by the way? Has Drick at work been talking about all the murders in the DR?
I haven't been paying attention to him.
There's all kinds of murders going on in the DR,
There's-
and you have an office in the DR.
We do. The G Spot has an office down in the Dominican, and I don't know if and or how that's affecting. Now, I have a former colleague of mine from Northeast Pennsylvania radio, and he's a friend. Chuck Termini is his name because he's on Facebook, and he's a big DR guy. There are two places that he and his family go to vacation. One is down at Sammy Hagar's Cabo Wabo Resort, and he's actually somewhat friendly with Sammy, okay, because they go there all the time. And the other, and I forget the resort, and it doesn't matter, is in the Dominican.
DR, yep.
And he was on there. I could probably find it if you give me a minute, but he was on there, I'm paraphrasing, banging the drum about this is nothing to do with, there's no scare, basically. There's no need for everybody to freak out and this and that. You had this scenario, which was totally different from that scenario, which was totally different from the other scenario.
But all within a very short period of time.
I understand.
And two of the murders were at the same resort.
Yeah.
And then my beloved, my heart of all hearts, my beautiful man, Big Poppy, was shot in the DR.
That made me upset. That made me very upset.
And at first they reported it was his leg. And then I found out he was shot right in the chest. I mean, he was shot like right in his body.
Right here.
Yeah, right.
Right in the back. It went from here and then poof,
went through.
They showed that. You've seen the video of the actual shot.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, the guy comes up behind him, literally from
They
about.
released it like the CCTV.
Yeah,
oh, snap!
literally from about this far away.
Yeah.
As if you were facing away from me.
Oh, you're taking a set with you.
But he's standing there, and he just from like 5, 6, 7 feet away, just pow. And it goes into his back, right about here, and right.
Because they like replace his intestines, his
It
gallbladder.
went right through the thing.
Yeah.
And it, really?
They saying it was a hit, like it was a hit. They caught the guy. I know that.
They caught the one guy. They
There's
caught the
another one, I
guy,
guess.
the guy on the motorcycle who was involved somehow tangentially. I don't. Maybe they have today, but the last I heard this morning on WCBS 880, home of the New York Mets. That they hadn't caught the actual shooter yet.
Oh, they hadn't. I wasn't sure if the guy they caught was the shooter or the other guy.
No, it was the other
sure.
guy on the motorcycle. That was, I don't know if he was like the escape vehicle or getaway vehicle, whatever. But and immediately they had Mr. Ortiz, his father, on there saying he's going to be okay. But then it came out about how this where he was shot. Where the leg reference came in was the guy sitting across from him, because it came out of Ortiz's body and hit his friend or the guy sitting across from him in the leg. So that's where that came from.
Oh, here we go. Oh, 32 minutes ago. Here's the update. Go ahead. I need your news guy.
Phnom Penh, Saigon, Boston. Details coming up now.
So you ready for this one? 6 arrested, 1 at large in 8,000 murder plot against Red Sox icon David Ortiz.
Wait, they're going to pay somebody a measly $8,000 to do that?
Yeah, man.
Come on.
6. Well, it's Dominican Republic. That's like $1 million to them. 6 men have been arrested in the brazen ambush shooting of Boston Red Sox icon David Big Papi Ortiz that occurred at a crowded nightclub in the Dominican Republic. Prosecutors Wednesday said the suspects set out to kill the retired baseball player to collect an $8,000 bounty placed on his head.
Why?
You shouldn't me. In a news conference, reports that it was a handgun used in the attempted hit.
Right.
Police said a total of 7 men were all a part of this murder plot. This is no joke, man.
Wow.
Earlier, police identified one of the suspects as Eddie Vladimir Garcia, 25, who was nabbed by onlookers and beaten.
Yeah, that's right.
You
That's
beat
the guy
that
had the
bitch
motorcycle. Yeah, that's
before
right.
being turned over to police. Yeah, you beat his ass, mother effer. Ortiz was severely wounded at the Dial Bar and Lounge. I can't see, but here's the thing: it's a hit. Who knew he was there? Who knew he was there? Obviously, someone had to tip them off.
Scoping him out.
Scoping him out. Well, then they were following him from wherever he was, hotel or anything. But if you have the handgun, part of me feels like there was a tip off. There's something going on there. Photos of officers escorting Garcia. The investigation's ongoing. They haven't identified. Surveillance video taken from the nightclub showed the gunman walking up behind Ortiz as he was sitting at the bar and shooting him in the back at close range.
Thank you.
Thank God.
Horrible.
Oh my God.
It's
There's
not like he was some D-bag doing, oh, look at me, I'm big freaking
Someone was
Papi,
trying
I'm
to
the
get
best.
paid. Someone was trying to get paid.
He's a decent sort from everything I've ever heard about him, okay? And I just don't know. Again, this kind of thing just doesn't even enter into my mind.
That's my Papi, man.
You know
I have an ornament on my...
I need $8,000. Maybe I'll, you know what? See where Mookie Wilson is, and maybe we can, pop him for $8,000. No.
Yep. And I have my Big Papi ornament on my Christmas tree. So
I do.
I love my Big Papi. I love
course.
him. So I'm very upset. And then my favorite player, don't get me wrong, I love David Ortiz, but my favorite player is Pedro Martinez. That's my number one player. And he was on, and he's very close friends with Papi. And he was on ESPN crying. Broke my heart.
Course.
Broke my freaking heart. Seeing my man cry, my main favorite player of all time crying.
My homie, my Stroman, my main macaroni.
I didn't like it. I didn't like this whole thing.
No.
And let me tell you something. I know that's unrelated, but there's something going on. The Dominican Republic, they've had 5 murders.
Yep.
5 murders within like a 1 week, 2 week period.
I know.
One couple and another woman at the same hotel resort. Another woman was beaten almost to death. Americans.
Yeah.
These are all Americans. Let's throw that out there. None of them are Dominicans. These are all American people. And there's something going on there. And my sister went on this rant on my Facebook when I said something about, you've never been there. America's got a lot of murders too. And I'm like, wait a second. Hold the phone. Okay? First of all, there's a reason that it's in the news because there's lots of murders in the Dominican Republic. I mean, there's lots of murders in the U.S. What they're saying is that Americans are getting shot and beat up and killed in a small time period at the same place, the same part of the Dominican Republic.
Geographically, a small place
correct.
as well.
And that's what that's about. Now, what happened to David Ortiz is completely separate, yet it is in the Dominican Republic. So it came out the same time period.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is going on in this country? Like, what is happening? Is that a country?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Just want to make sure I
it's
don't
the
sound
island
stupid.
of Hispaniola. You've got, I forget which side, and it doesn't matter really.
Geography.
One side is the Dominican Republic, and the other side is Haiti.
That's
so
right.
You've
That's
got
right.
a
And
lot
I knew
of,
Haiti was a country. That's
a lot
right.
of poverty and a lot of
But
desperation.
my
I have to
cousins
think,
were
down
just in the Dominican Republic. you know, and Josie and my
The
cousin
Pussycats.
Rodney,
Oh.
not that my cousin's wife. They were just
Sorry.
in the Dominican Republic. They like literally got back maybe days prior to all this stuff happening.
Let me tell you something.
So
I
I'm
got
just
I
so
got a
glad they're
college buddy
safe
of
and
mine-
home.
Got a college buddy of mine whose mother, and I don't believe that she does anymore. She's older, but through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, she would orchestrate vacations and trips to the DR. And when they first started going, I think either when we were in or just after we were done, I think it was the last couple of years I was in college, they started going down to the DR. I'm like, what are you doing? What, the Dominican freaking Republic? This is like 84, 85. He's like, no. These you got to see. I have pictures. They're at the
Sure, a lot of people go
they're
there.
they're at the place getting developed. They're at the place getting developed.
Yeah.
And sure enough, all these pictures. He showed me the pictures.
Yeah,
I'm like,
sure.
huh, I'll be damned. But that was again 30 years ago, 20 years ago, 15 years ago.
Sure.
Now, it seems the status quo has changed. Chuck, I love you. I do, pal. My song of the day, brother. You know, and I get where you're coming from. That okay, this really it could be classified as random. But you know what? If I'm, and I'm not right this second, but if I'm planning a getaway to the Caribbean, right now I'm gonna go ahead and say, how about no?
You're gonna skip
to the
that
DR.
one. You're gonna skip that one.
Yeah,
Well, you should
right,
talk
you
to
know.
your homies at the G Spot who are in the DR if you ever get on the phone with them and be like, hey, what's up? What's going on? Because you live there. I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. I want to know what's going on in the DR. What's up?
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's something going on. I mean, and my friend who is Dominican,
It's a
by
little
the way,
fishy. It's a little fishy.
she thinks something's up, and
Yeah.
she's Dominican. She's from the Dominican Republic,
course.
and she's like, something's up. Something's going on.
Well, AP's
So there.
wife.
Yes. Oh, she's Dominican. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
That's right. Petra Cake. We got to ask him.
Yeah, buddy.
Call in, Andrew. I wish Andrew was listening. I'd like him to call in or get his wife to call in.
Yeah.
I just want to know what's up. But I want,
Because
you
their
know.
family is down there, and I bet you they
That's
have
right.
more direct
Oh, we need
knowledge
to talk
about
to
all
Petra
the.
Kekos. Get him on the
I'll
phone.
ask
Andrew,
him.
we need you. Oh, damn it. Damn it, Andrew.
Yeah.
Damn it, Jim.
Andrew,
I'm a doctor.
on an escalator. Actual line, by the way.
Yeah. That's weird.
Because he was carrying some girl who was hurt. Yeah. Bones, I need you to bring her up that hill. Jim, damn it, I'm a doctor, not an escalator.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So
But
yeah, I don't know what's going on.
there's
It's,
very weird things going
there's
on
some
down
weird
there. I would say.
stuff. Weirdly
Weirdly
stuff.
weirdness.
Dude, weird stuff. Weird.
That's weird stuff
Thank you.
going on in the Dominican.
That's what I was looking for.
Hopefully, the likes of Xavier Cugat won't be present. I used to love when he said Xavier Cugat, Johnny Carson.
Cugat.
Yes, you are correct, sir. Weird things.
Oh my goodness, I'm looking up something else. One more thing I got to talk
Oh,
about,
boy,
and then
here we
I'm
go.
done. Then I'm done.
I depend upon you for
For information.
show content.
So I know, because I got all kinds of stuff.
Of
But this
course.
is really, really, really important,
Go ahead.
and it's so important to. I'll tell you how important it is. People who
Need people.
hate Jon Stewart love Jon Stewart now. People who love Jon Stewart love him even more, because what he did
Yeah.
this week was freaking amazing.
Here again, not as a matter of course, a huge fan. However,
What he did.
credit where it's due. Even with the likes of TBL or Jon Stewart, credit where it's due. And this guy with I know where you're going, the 911 fund.
Sure.
They got about a year or so left until this thing dries. I mean,
Sure.
dries.
These
up.
guys didn't show up. These people
Horrible.
didn't show up, and
We
what
have
he,
better things to do. We're
I'm busy.
congressmen.
I'm
you know
busy.
What? F you.
And let me tell you something. What Jon Stewart, his passion,
Mm-hmm.
emotion, his dedication, and the thing about it is a friend of mine who does not like Jon Stewart, and he said he started liking him because Jon does a lot with animals. He does a lot of rescues and
course.
stuff like that. So he said I started liking him a little bit. He goes, but then I watched this. He said, now I love him. And that's what's going on with this man. And I wanted to play a little bit because I thought it's important. It's important
agree.
for a number of reasons. 9/11 in itself was such a catastrophe for this country, and so many lives were affected by it. And I've said this before. My bosses at the time, my boss's wife was on one of the planes
no.
that hit the World Trade Center. So
I didn't remember that.
yeah, Paige
Oh,
Hackle.
no, I'm
rest in
so
peace,
sorry to
Paige.
know
But
that.
that was one of my, one of.
I went to high school with a guy. who was in the building. He was a few years
Yeah.
older than me. My one of my best good friends dated Tommy Glasser's younger sister, who was in our class.
Sure.
Tommy, I think we were 82. I think Tommy was either 79 or 80 in high school. And he was I don't know which tower, and it doesn't matter, but he was in there. And we weren't chums because he was 2 or 3 years older. He didn't play the sports we played, but we knew him. Hey, Tom, good to see you. How are you? Hey, Joe, what's up? And now gone.
And I think I told you
because he went to work one day.
Right,
Great.
exactly. With Paige was going to L.A. and there were, obviously there were 2 planes that hit. And so she actually was going with her best friend and her best friend's 11-year-old daughter to L.A. And what happened was she got on one plane and her friend missed the flight. So her friend contacted her while she was on the plane and said, I'm going to catch the next flight. Her and her daughter caught the next flight and they both hit. So they all died. And it was actually a very, big story because what are the odds that it's just very strange the way that took place. But, these firemen, policemen, first responders, EMT, all those people that came and rescued people and lost their lives and have suffered tremendously.
Horrible because of all that stuff that they were around.
And it was horrible.
And not to be corny, not at all, but the man was correct. And I think I have mentioned this in other incarnations and other stories, other discussions. Mr. Rogers. And you're like, what? Mr. Rogers? No.
Yep.
Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
Okay. He, see, this is getting me. Because I loved him so as a little boy.
Sure.
And this is just so impactful to me all these years later. He always said, watch for the helpers. Look for the helpers, okay? If you need help, look for the people who help. Watch for the helpers. And all those helpers that day and after, they're going into this crap when everybody the hell else
is running away.
And they should have been running out.
Right.
Don't get me wrong.
No, of course.
Don't get me wrong. You're working for, Shyster Flywheel and Shyster up on the 15th or 35th floor. Get out. Now would be good. But you've got the Port Authority Police, the New York City Police Department, the New York City Fire
New
Department,
Jersey Police Department,
the EMTs, and everybody the hell else going in as it's happening. And then you have people, you're correct, from Long Island, from New Jersey, from Pennsylvania, from
everyone was
wherever
called.
the hell they came from. They didn't care to help.
And we have a monument in Robbinsville because
Yes.
actually Robbinsville police were also there.
Of course.
So we have a beautiful monument at the lake in honor of them.
Just breaks
and it's
my
a piece.
heart.
Actually, it's
Holy
a piece
crap.
of
The steel, isn't
the steel.
it?
Correct.
From the building.
Correct. Yeah, it's amazing.
There's one over in North Brunswick too, and I can't remember, and I can't tell the exact story about it, but clearly it just breaks my heart. But the thing of it is, again, Mr. Rogers had a way of breaking it down for little children so they wouldn't freak out. He even when you're like a little kid, like preschool, but like old enough to speak and talk and interact, there were children, and I'm sure there still are, who were afraid that they were going to, in the bathtub, get sucked down the drain.
Sure.
Okay? He had, I forget if it was a story, but it was probably a little song, because
It was probably a song.
He was famous for his little tunes that he would make, I like you just the way you are, and all this kind of thing. Such a good feeling, to know you're alive, and so forth. Yeah, he was what he was, and he was how he was, but dude was right on it, man.
Sure.
He had a way of making children just, okay, I guess it's all right. And always look for the helpers was a big one.
Sure.
Was a big one.
Yep.
And there's just so many of them now who are either unwell, beginning to be unwell, or living under the specter of, oh crap, am I going to become unwell?
Or they passed away and they left little kids behind,
And
that as well. I mean, it's just it should never stop. And the fact that it's going to stop, what the hell is that all about? I mean,
And
it's
yet
ridiculous.
we gave, a big pallet or two worth of money over to Iran how many years ago? Don't get me started.
There's a lot of money we've given to other people, but
or other situations, but you're exactly correct.
so I'm going to see.
I may not agree with Mr. Stewart's, personal or political or whatever takes on this, that, and the other. But let me tell you what, A, he's a local guy. He was from just over here in Lawrenceville, okay? And B, you know what? Okay, he got famous for what he got famous for, to me just being a knucklehead on the Daily Show. But you know what? People liked it, so good for him.
Yeah.
Wasn't my cup of tea.
Right, and that's okay. And
That's why, again, why Breyers makes vanilla and chocolate.
Right.
Everybody's got different taste. But you know what? To have him be a stand-up dude and say, yo, this is wrong.
It's phony baloney.
You know, big phony baloney. This is wrong. This is pure D, absolute wrong. In front of, our supposed national leadership.
And empty chairs.
Yeah. I have to tip my hat to him as well.
I'm going to play a little bit
Let's
because
have
I
a
think it's
little-
worth it.
Little sample. Let's do it.
Now to Capitol Hill, where a vote is set today on a bill to compensate 9/11 first responders suffering devastating effects on their health. This on the heels of Jon Stewart's emotional testimony. Our senior national correspondent, Terry Moran, has more. He's there in Washington for us. Good morning, Terry.
Can I actually
Good
see
morning, Robin. You know, over the years, Jon
try to
Stewart's
be
made a
cool,
lot of
but-
people laugh, but there were many people, including members of Congress, on the verge of tears in that hearing room when he stepped forward to demand that Congress do its job and take care of some of the heroes of 9/11.
Surrounded by 9/11 first responders,
You are ignoring them.
comedian Jon Stewart struggled to control his emotions on Capitol Hill
be
Tuesday
me.
as he demanded Congress take action.
There is not a person here, there is not an empty chair on that stage that didn't tweet out, never forget the heroes of 9/11.
Thank you.
Never forget their bravery. Never forget what they did, what they gave to this country. Well, here they are.
Stewart, a longtime advocate for the 9/11 first responders, repeatedly called out lawmakers for not doing enough to compensate those among them who were sickened by all that toxic debris at the site of the
I
attack.
can't even
They
imagine.
responded in 5 seconds. They did their jobs with courage, grace, tenacity, humility. 18 years later, do yours.
The compensation fund for those men and women is now running out of money and faces cuts.
We are all worried about our children and spouses and our families if we are not here.
And many whose lives depend on that fund are running out of time, like Detective Lou Alvarez, who is facing his 69th chemotherapy treatment.
Oh,
You
no.
all said you would never forget. Well, I'm here to make sure that you don't.
A furious Stewart called the scene a metaphor for the whole system.
Your indifference costs these men and women their most valuable commodity, time. It's the one thing they're running out of.
Well, there was so much emotion in that
Wow.
hearing
No,
room, in
they're
part
not
because
insane.
of all those
No,
empty.
but that's
seats,
making me emotional.
Well,
'cause,
and me too. I mean, and right, anybody worth half their salt is going to be. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. And I get it that maybe, somebody, and this is not a shot. Please understand that this is not a dig, okay? But somebody from, say, I don't know, Bangor, Maine, or Elkhart, Indiana, or Billings, Montana, or, Olathe, Kansas, or wherever, Eugene, Oregon. It's to them, it's a world away. I mentioned Indiana because I talked to a gentleman today who's one of my customers who, he's only a few states away. He's never been to the East Coast. He said, I've never been. I said, well, like at the such and such and such. I've never been to the East Coast. And, dude's probably in his 40s, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So for somebody like that in Indiana or, again, Bangor, Maine, or, Las Cruces, New Mexico, fill in the blank, it's a world away. It's almost like Disneyland, so to speak, to somebody who hasn't been there. We know it's there, but it really hasn't impacted me much. Well, I get that, okay? I get that. But to those of us who grew up, I watched those buildings go up, okay, as a little boy. They broke ground when I was a very little boy in 1966. My mother and father, dig this, my mother and father used to work for the American Car and Foundry, ACF Industries, and their headquarters was at 30 Church Street, which is in the campus on where the two towers were. Okay, they knocked down the building that ACF was housed in order to make way for the Twin Towers. And as a little boy, and my father worked in New York City, so we were going into New York City like some people go to the Quaker Bridge Mall around here.
Sure.
So we go in the car, on the train, on the bus, whatever, and all of a sudden you'd see him. Here's the first one, and then the other one, and then higher and higher and higher. I'm like, whoa, And it was 1974 when they opened, so I was 9 going on 10. And you know what? You got to get up there as a kid. We went to the Statue of Liberty. We went to the Empire State Building. Dad, when are we going to go? Mom, when are we going to go to the to the Windows on the World? Well, we'll have to arrange that. And we finally did. And and I've eaten there as an adult on Windows on the World. We did the tour, the whole Megillah, and then just like that, in literally 90 minutes, gone. Mm-hmm. I mean, again, not to rehash it because we've all seen it a million times. Sure. But seeing it a million times shouldn't deaden the pain.
The thing is the fact that I can sit here and be emotional about it. You can sit here and be emotional about it, and I'm sure there are many, many people in this country who can be emotional about it.
Please, if we had a nickel,
Right. They need to be emotional about it. And I feel like, it's kind of like I said this on our show a while, I think in the other building we were talking about it. But I said, sometimes you need a tragedy to bring people together.
True enough. That
and
sucks, though.
When 9/11 happened, it was like we're one country where it didn't matter. Democratic, Republican, independent, didn't matter.
It didn't.
Because we were all there for a common cause.
For the proverbial 15
Correct.
minutes.
And that's what it is. And now it's been, as long as it has, and now people are forgetting. And they say every September 11th, they tweet about it, Facebook, never forget, never forget. But do you really never forget? Because because these people are forgetting. That's what they're doing.
And 2, sorry, but not really, when all of a sudden you have a contingent of people who are now part of the government, who are also part of the population that thinks that was nothing. It was just a thing.
Yeah.
Really?
Well,
and now you're helping to.
And you're an idiot.
Well, hello.
Yeah.
And you're supposedly helping to run the country in the right way. No, somebody has forgotten. Okay, there's a group of people up in Minnesota who have forgotten or have allowed the insurgency to come in.
And let me tell you something. And if you didn't watch that on 9/11 and weep, you're an asshole. And I'll say that clearly, because let me tell you something. And this was, besides the fact of Paige's death, I wept uncontrollably because it was the most horrific thing I've ever witnessed in my life. And my friend Jill was in Manhattan at the time.
Stolen, sure. I wept.
My family was in. My uncle actually worked at Newark Airport. So when that was all going, I was trying to reach my uncle. The phones were disconnected. I couldn't reach anybody. It was the most horrific thing. And for people to sit here, I don't care if it's 10 years later, 20 years later, 50 years later, 100 years later, you need to treat it the same. It needs to be treated with respect. Those people need to be taken care of. Those people's families need to be taken care of. And the memory needs to be strong and live on. And this phony baloney, the fact that this man, Jon Stewart, had to go there and say what he needed to say and be emotional in front of these people to get money, get the F out of here. It's phony. It's baloney.
This is as impactful as impactful. I mean, differently, but as impactful as Pearl Harbor. It's as impactful, again, differently. Hear my words, differently as the D-Day activities and all who lost their lives there. That we just had 75 years of time going by last week. Okay, this is again differently, not completely unlike even the Challenger disaster, or the Apollo disaster when they all burned on and died in the space capsule. These are things that are they happen and they shouldn't have for many, many different reasons, and again, very, very differently, one to the next, to the next, to the next. None of these things should have happened. The Kennedy assassination, the Lincoln assassination, I could go on. There's all these things that should never have happened, yet they did, for whatever heinous, horrible, nasty BS reasons, okay? And to me, again, the closest thing, Pearl Harbor and September 11th is because, what, a group of people, for Lord only knows what reason, I'm going to have to ask you about this when I get there one day too, pal. They just didn't like us.
Right.
What?
Yep.
What have we done to you? Well, you suppress my people. Or, Japan doesn't like you because of whatever the hell. I haven't done anything to you. I haven't done anything to you. Me. Personally, to you personally, and yet you're going to come and do that to us.
Yeah,
Great,
messed up.
It's horrible. I tip my hat to Jon Stewart.
Can you itch my back?
Where you at?
Down to the right, lower, right,
right.
to left, right there. I couldn't reach it. Thank you.
Welcome.
Driving me crazy,
That's real town. Can you dig it,
dude? Nothing worse than an itchy back and you can't reach.
Yeah,
That's the worst
I
thing
find
ever.
a corner and. Like a bear on a tree.
Yeah, like I was about to get up and go in that little corner right there. I thought it would be a good scratching, good scratching for me.
Well, I'm going to be very interested to see now that
they
drum
actually
has been banged rather loudly and publicly.
I think that they extended it after that, if I'm not mistaken. I think I saw something where they said they extended the money, but we'll see what's going on. I don't know.
Well, we're certainly going to see. I mean, it's certainly worthwhile. Sadly, I don't know that anything like this was put into place, thought of, and or available back in 1941 or 42. To me, certainly it should have been. And, for the D-Day folks, who lost their lives in 1944, yes, you say, well, they were soldiers. That was their job. Yeah, but you know what?
Anywhere,
that was
anywhere where they lose their lives.
I agree
Right.
that's their job, and they signed up for it, and they knew what they were maybe getting into. Just like, guys who play a sport that is a contact sport, and they get hurt, and they can no longer play. Well, they knew we were signing up for. Yes, but that doesn't negate the fact that the NFL or the NHL or the NBA or Major League Baseball should take care of these guys because they sacrifice their ability to earn what they earn because of their involvement. Same thing here. You know what? Certainly with the responders from September 11th, and to me, certainly, and it's now, it's all done and over with, pretty much where this kind of thing would be concerned. But they should have had something available in the 40s for the World War II people. And in the 20s for the World War I people, and back and back and back. I mean, it just, I don't know, maybe I'm off my nut, but I mean, it just, what, you have these wonderful, Coach Evans, God love him, and I know he does, okay?
Coach.
Here's a guy who, and he posted it the other day, has been existing with just horrible pain for about 35 or so years, okay? Granted, he also mentioned, and I'm paraphrasing here, that there are others who are in vastly worse predicaments than him, but I'm not worried about that right now. All I know is my friend, my coach, for all these years that I've known him, since 2000, so now we're going back
19 years.
Thank you. Okay, so tack on another, umpteen years before that to the mid-'80s. God love him, man. And why is it such a chore? Why is it such a chore for people who are in predicaments like that to A, get tended to, and B, get some assistance from, Uncle Sam, so to speak, because you did this working for him.
Yep.
This happened, rather, working for him. Anyway.
Yeah.
Point made. Love you, Coach. I really do. And it was so good to see you when you were in town for the game back in April.
Beautiful.
On the 27th. Great to see you.
It's beautiful.
It is. I love that guy. You know, at first I'm like, who in the hell is this loudmouth Sergeant Slaughter wannabe? Until I got to know him. And I'm like, wow, this guy's got it.
He's got it.
He does. He really does. That's the bottom line.
I want to do a shout out to my friend.
Please.
We're going to have him on the show.
Okay.
I'm going to tell him. He doesn't know yet.
Oh.
But his name is Bubba Ganter. He actually is in the show Game Shakers, which is a kid show on Nickelodeon. He plays the character Bunny, and the show just got canceled. But it was on for about 4 years, I think.
Not to be confused with Rump Shaker.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, Game Shakers. Little kids, you know, is after Henry Danger. If you watch Nickelodeon, you know what I'm talking about.
I do not.
But yeah, but he's doing other things. He just appeared in the Marvel show. What's it called? Having a brain freeze.
Avengers?
Not the movie. It's like a TV show. It's Marvel. It's Agents of
Shield.
Shield. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God, my head. So he just appeared in Agents of Shield. So yeah. So he's doing well. But we're gonna try to get him on the show.
Good.
And we can talk to him about his life.
would love
He
to.
started his career out as a bodyguard for a very famous pop boy band, and moved on to Hollywood and
The Menudo.
no, a little later.
Damn it.
From Boston, boy band, New Kids on the Block.
Thank you.
So he was a bodyguard for New Kids on the Block for a long time, and then moved on to
Sorry,
Hollywood.
but
So
boy bands weren't my jam.
yeah, well, I mean, this is
I know.
probably
They're
the
good.
biggest,
They're
you know,
good.
well,
I get
you know, Mark Wahlberg is Donnie Wahlberg. So everything. Yeah. But I'm going to get him on our show, and so that will be a very big guest. I'd love to have Bubba on, so we'll get him on the show. I'm going to get my friend Adam Sissio on the show, who is an author, a children's author. His book did Anxious Andy. It was like the #1 book in children's books.
Nice.
And now he's writing another book, and he's doing really well. So we have some guest lists I'm working on, and
Let's
I want to
jam.
get that going. I wanted to wait till we were in here. Now we're in here, and it's time to jam.
I agree.
Jam.
Giant.
Oh, jam. Jam.
Yeah, jam sandwich.
Is there still jam?
Yeah, and it's just sucks.
Nobody does jam.
Nobody cares.
Jam. Oh, jam. I don't know where I just completely forgot about that. And then you said it, and you said jam. I said
Okay, you can
jam.
find all this HR material in Jam.
Jam. Oh, jam. Oh, my goodness. Those were the days. That's
Okay,
what
so
used to be fun.
the Biggest Loser contest, the Comedy Biggest Loser contest, you can find all the details, rules, regs, and parameters and weigh-in times on Jam.
Jam. Oh, jam. Oh, that's
It's
when I used to.
okay.
We used to hang out.
It's-
Randy sat with us. I miss my Randy.
Yeah.
I miss the fun we had. We had a lot of fun
Well,
before I got taken over by the dark side, but we had fun.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's been about 3 years since the
The fun ended.
since the
fun.
Since the Dark Crystal started
The dark
propagating
side.
the black
But
light.
that was
But
a
that's
lot of
okay.
time. Have you been following the story about Nexium? Have you been
The
seeing
little
that?
purple pill?
Not the purple pill. I can't even say that. Little purple pill.
Today's
Little
purple
purple pill.
pill.
Purple pill. Purple pill. Not that one.
Oh.
So Nexium is like it's a cult.
Oh, that.
That cult.
Oh,
'Cause
that.
you know I'm obsessed with cults.
Little bit.
Because I watch those shows
ID
all the
channel.
time. I just like obsessed with cults. Well, cults are fascinate me. I'm
Coming up, how Jim Jones wrangled so many people into his lair on ID.
where the saying "drink the Kool-Aid" came from.
Yeah, what?
That's what got me in
Don't
trouble.
say that. See what happens when you say
It's
things
negative.
like that?
Don't say it on the floor. It's negative.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. But yeah, this Nexium, it is like crazy, dude. Like what they used to do to the women. Like what's crazy to me is that. So this is what I think, and I'm not trying
What
to
do you think?
downplay, like the way cults work. Like how can one person, make you do things you don't want to do against your will, or make it, I shouldn't say that, change your mind and make you believe it's right even though it's very wrong. Like how do people like Jim Jones, Waco, all those places, they make you you kill yourself.
Back to World War II, there was a guy over in Germany with a little bitty mustache who whipped a lot of
That would
people
be Adolf
into-
Hitler.
Yeah, oh, gee, who whipped a lot of people into his little, web of bullshit.
Right. Like how as a person Like I think really hard about it because I like to think, I'm a strong person. I like to think that. But is there anyone who can start talking to me and make me believe something different? Like make me go, you know what? I am going to kill myself. Like, this is what I want to know. I want to know how people can. Hold on a second. I'm just fixing my.
I have a theory.
I'd love to hear your theory because I'm fascinated by it.
And we'll go back to Hitler, okay? Because he's the most notoriously and or well known discussed figure about something like this. Yes, there's Jim Jones. Yes, there's David Koresh, and yes, there's all these knuckleheads who do what they do. Like even Sun Myung Moon, and the Moonies back in the 70s. Okay,
and then there was that guy when they all wore the Nikes and they all killed themselves. They were all under the blankets. I don't remember that guy's name.
My theory is this, and I've heard this stated before on certain things. It's not unlike what we did for so many years in media. Okay, where I got told repetition builds reputation. Well, that's what you want to do. If you're the car dealership or the clothing store, you want to repeat your message to increase and enhance and ensconce your reputation. That's what advertising is. All we're doing is bringing people to product through repetition of the message. Okay. Guys like Koresh and Jones and Adolf Hitler and all these screwheads, okay, especially Hitler, he got to the point that he kept, and he did from the mid-30s because he had problems. He was shoved aside for a while, so to say. Then he got himself as the Chancellor of Germany back in the mid-30s. So from the mid-30s to 45? So about a dozen years or so, he kept saying what he said. Over and over and over and over and over and over again, and in such a manner, Lord knows why. My father watches the American Heroes channel. I call it affectionately. So, Dad, you're watching the Hitler channel? Yeah. Who's winning?
Is that a History Channel or a different channel?
No, AHC, American Heroes channel.
Oh.
Okay.
Real American Heroes.
Bud Light presents.
I couldn't resist that one.
Stop it.
I couldn't.
So
Sorry.
it's just repetitiousness of this heinous, horrible philosophy, message, verbiage, call it what you will. Then all of a sudden, it's 1938, 1939, and back to I saw a thing the other night this is a perfect example on the Hitler Youth. Okay, and there was a couple few thousand, kind of like the German Boy Scouts back in the mid-late 30s. A few thousand boys going to camp and doing things outside and just having it looked like fun, honestly. Okay, then all of a sudden it's like 1939, 1940, and there's a couple million. Then it's like 1944, and there's like umpteen or 20 or however many gazillion of these Hitler Youth. And as they got them in, they just, we're going to do this now. And now we're going to do this. And now we're going to do this. So all of a sudden, everybody heading in that direction is heading in this direction because they just slowly and very repetitiously bang that drum. Hard, loud, and often. Mm-hmm. So all of a sudden now, you got that going on. Plus, you got old Adolf out there, right, like he used to do with all the adults. And he's got them, God bless. He's got them all whipped into a frenzy thinking that what he's saying is, yeah, I get that. Yeah, okay, I'm buying. Whereas 5-10 years ago, you got these people who wouldn't have bought anything close to what this guy was selling. Or Jim Jones, or David Koresh, or Nike sneaker guy, or Sun Myung Moon, or whomever the hell else. It's just this, the more they say, the more they come off with these non-truths, with these lies, and the more that they say it, the more they believe it. And the more they believe it, the more they're convicted. They've got conviction about what they're saying. And then all these sheep who, for whatever reason, are not strong. And there's a lot of people like that.
Well, and that's what right, but that's what I question. Is there really that many?
Yes.
I mean, especially with Jim Jones, it was over 900 people.
Yeah.
I mean, what the really?
Look at politics.
Not like 2 people.
Look at current politics today. Okay, and I'm not going to go one way or the other. Okay, but there are people who hear something come out of a major politician's mouth,
and it's got to be true.
And it's gospel.
It's got to be true.
Absolutely. Gospel.
Gotta be true.
It's one of the 15 oi, 10 commandments to them, so
Oi.
to speak. Okay, it's gospel truth. It's
Well, that's what the internet's done to people too.
well,
It's like
there's
people
that.
read it on the internet and they go, "Well, it's got to be true."
it's got to be true. I saw it online. No, wrong.
You know what I do when I see something on the internet? I always check other sources.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. Like a lot of times, what happens with Facebook, it's weird. They'll repeat things. I don't know if you noticed this. Like
See? Repeat
recently,
things. Did you see what you just said?
exactly.
Thank you.
Repeat. They recently, if a celebrity dies, they'll post it like years later,
Yeah.
and then people repost it saying, "Oh, look who died." And I
Oh,
just
John
saw.
Wayne died. Did you know that?
Yeah,
yes,
like,
in
it's really weird.
1979.
But
idiots.
a friend of mine just posted, oh, this was the other day. She said, "I'm so sad about this death." And it said Gene Wilder. And I went,
He's been gone for a
he's
little
been
while.
gone for a while, right? So, of course, before I answered, because I knew I was 100% sure, but I actually
Again,
checked
it's so good to be right.
to make sure I'm
Right.
right. And there, of course, and then I wrote back to her and said, "Well, this is the year he died." But the post was just posted.
Yep.
So somebody who's an idiot posted it somewhere and it just started going through. And that's happened many times with many celebrities who died
Exactly.
in the past. And then all of a sudden it resurfaces. Like, what the hell is... And this is how you stop it, right? Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up.
No, people.
You
wanna-
can find out when people
wanna
died,
know what
you
they
know.
wanna know. No, I don't want to know. I don't want to know.
I'm just gonna,
This is
oh
right.
my God, he died, repost. And it's like,
No.
wait a second. And I literally, I always have looked and I second guess. I go, wait a second. Didn't he die? Didn't she die already? Like, and I always check before I post anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If I post anything, oh, this person passed away, which I
course,
do.
of course.
I always make sure it's right.
True.
Do you remember like when Tom Petty was sick? People were posting that he died before he died.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
somebody said, oh, he died. So it's got to be true. I mean, he eventually did pass away, but
Which sucks.
but they were like
unnecessarily, by the way.
for like a couple of days they were like, oh no, he's already
I
dead.
remember that.
And this is because people don't check their facts. Check your facts. And I'm not saying look at one website. Look at 100 websites. Look at several different websites.
Here's the thing. I don't know if you know yours, but I know that my IQ is right about 130. Okay?
Mine's super, super high.
Is that right?
I'm a genius.
Wow. So, okay, you're smart. You
I'm
know
smart.
things.
I know things.
So, okay, between whatever it is, 100 and gazillion, 60 Einstein and 130 IQ, which isn't too horrible, you got to understand, too, that for every one of us, there's at least one, if not more, of somebody running around there with about 100 to 105, or even 90-something, or even like 112. Not saying that they're stupid, not saying that. It's just that they're not as adept, adroit, sharp, inclined to think their own thoughts oftentimes. Not always, but oftentimes. Again, you got to hear my words, okay? Oftentimes. So when you have, out of 340 million people, for example, give or take a couple few dozen, in the United States, in these United States of America, okay, I gotta figure there's about 170 million or so that, and again, it's not a shot. I'm just saying they may not be the sharpest knives in the drawer,
The sharpest tools in the shed.
the brightest bulbs in the box, okay, and that's okay too. And I don't mean like Judge Smales in Caddyshack. Well, the world needs ditch diggers too. That's not my point. My point is just that, there's so many people who, for whatever reason, either can't, won't, don't form their own thoughts, opinions, and solid convictions. They want to be led. They want to be
Well, and I also think it's
shepherded.
that like not paying attention to the red flags, because I think even the people who start to get swayed by things, they might see things, they're like, well, that seems a little well, that's weird, that's all, and they start doubting, but yet they won't back up.
Of
Like
course.
they're in too deep. They're kind of like, well, I've been a part of this sect for a year now, even though this
invested.
looks kind of weird. I mean, a perfect example to me is Scientology.
Oh,
I don't
geez.
care. I'm sorry if you're Scientologist, but that's a freaking cult, because the things
I agree.
that they've done, and I've read the books, the Dianetics, I've done it all, so don't talk to me like I don't know what I'm talking about. I've seen them all. And I can tell you, like, the things they do is not normal. That's not, you see, anything where they keep you from doing what you need to do in life and make you believe that this is the best thing for you. I decide what's the best for me.
Yes.
Me, Tracy Paris. John Thalon decides what's best for him.
Correct.
You decide what's best for yourself. No one else should dictate or tell me what's best for me.
Nope.
Okay? Unless you're my mom and who's, rest in peace, is no longer alive, you have no right to tell me what I should do.
This isn't Russia. Is this Russia?
This
isn't Russia.
It isn't Russia. But this NXIVM thing, it was advertised or marketed as a women's empowerment group. And what they did, look on the...
Oh.
Who's
What
that?
is that? Who's that guy in the picture?
Vibes. Voices? Vibes? Voices. Is that Ruben? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I felt like I was in the 80s. I started flashing back that they had shoulder pads in that blazer.
Yeah, you did.
That was weird. That was weird. But yeah, so it's a women's. So what they did, the guy who ran is one guy. His name was Keith Raniere. He's in his 50s, and he convinced these women that he was empowering them by having sex with them. He had sex with all of them. Now I'm talking women under. He's actually being charged with a couple of counts of underage because some of the women were actually under age of consent, but the majority of them were of age of consent. But he convinced the women to convince other women that having sex with him would enlighten them and would, help them. And these women
Nothing
had sex with him.
Cutting a slice every once in a while, but that's not right.
They had sex with him, and he branded them, had them branded with with his initials, and they did it with no anesthesia.
With a hot iron?
What do you call it? It's a something
iron.
gun. No, it's like looks like a pen, but it melts. It's like a pen, but it's a melt. There's a word for it. And they were carving his initials in the women's pelvic area.
Nope.
Tied them down, no anesthesia, and carved these in the
Why?
Oh, because he owned them. So they were referred to as slaves, property, and they were recruiting women like crazy. They just kept recruiting, and they're like, it's a women empowerment
Why are
group.
these people buying into this, these women?
There's the question. And
which leads me back to, there is a big contingent of people who want to be
belong.
told.
They felt
want to belong to something.
Now here's
want
the
to
crazy
be
thing.
shepherded.
The majority of the women were actresses, failed actresses.
Wow.
So
validated.
Mm-hmm. Now Catherine Oxenberg, who was in Dynasty, her daughter was one of them.
No.
Yep. She was trapped in this cult, and the female head, the one who reported to Raniere was like his right hand woman.
Yeah.
Was a woman from the show Smallville. She was starred in Smallville, and she's actually Allison Mack. Her name is. She's actually going to prison. Yeah. But she was kind of.
How do people think of this?
She would recruit the women.
How does this kind of thought occur?
Yeah, she would recruit the women, and she would say things to them like how Keith Raniere was the most intelligent man in the world, according to her, I guess. She said that the cult was it was a sex slave. They were called slaves. They said they belonged to Keith Raniere, and it was just they did some messed up stuff to these women, really really messed up stuff. But they had there's the branding. She's showing it there, but it was the branding. You can see that. It's pretty messed up. I mean, it's really it's pretty messed up.
Again, my whole thing, and even my dad and I had a discussion. I forget if it was last night,
before. And the daughter of the heiress to the Seagram's fortune, Seagram's the booze, actually financed that whole cult.
Bye up the river. You're going to do many semesters.
Yeah,
in
she's actually
college.
She's going to be going to prison probably too. There's a whole bunch of them.
Again,
it's
Dad and I got
deep.
talking about stuff like, not this, but stuff like this, how people just do these things that never occur to me. I mean, I told you again, and I'm not going to go on and on about it because I've said it 18 times, but I got sent to that dopey private school that I did not like.
Oh, dopey private school.
Okay? Yeah. I didn't like it until I was probably, halfway through, quarter way through my sophomore year of high school till I finally was in, so to speak, and made some real friends and so forth. As a 12, 13, and 14-year-old kid, I hated the place. I didn't want to be there. period.
How old were you when you went there?
7th grade,
7th grade.
12 years old.
Okay.
Okay? And I didn't want to be there. But never once did it occur to me to do something like, I don't know, light off fireworks in one of the waste baskets full of paper to start a fire. Happened. To rip and tear and destroy the boys' room, down just a couple of classrooms from the lecture hall. Happened. Okay.
Happened.
Or to vandalize and break shit and what that was school property, because you want to know what happened to those dudes?
What happened?
Out the door they went. Okay. Next Friday, come in and have the rent. And out the door I went. Well, all right then. Thorogood and Sling Blade.
I went to Sling Blade. You went to Thorogood. That's where our minds are.
But they all got out. Whether that was their objective or they were just jerk-offs who were, as my mother would have said, well, he's just a busy child. No, he's a jerk-off. Okay?
Jerk-off.
It never occurred to me to do that. And a lot of things occur to me, even now. But that kind of stuff doesn't. To do something like this Nexium garbage? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's crarazy, right? It's crazy.
Again,
I'm obsessed with it. I'm obsessed with
there's nothing
that
wrong
it happened.
with cutting a slice, having a little, fun, with
that's not
a
fun.
woman with a man with a woman. Hey, who's the victim? However.
Yeah, this is forced.
Nope.
Forced sex.
Never. Wrong.
And they
Incorrect.
just brainwashing and manipulation.
Nope.
Nope. I really I just wonder. I mean, I feel like I should do a test, not a test. What's the word I'm looking for? Where what I'll do is I'll start telling people something completely fabricated, not true, and just start spreading it around and just telling people and see if they start believing it.
Yeah.
Do they start believing it?
Yeah.
Like a trial, a test. What's the word I'm looking for? There's another word I was looking for.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make up something. We should do it on the show. I'm going to think of what it is. We'll just say something completely random, untrue, and see what happens.
I keep banging the drum on it.
Keep banging. Say it every show. It'll be like a subliminal, though.
And we're not going to tell you.
We're not going to tell you.
What it is.
It's a secret. Shh.
You know what it is, though?
What?
Almost 7.
No.
It is.
No. La 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 la.
And I hear the throngs in the back.
I don't care. La 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 la.
Well,
Johnny and me hanging on a tree. I don't know.
I kind of have to pee. No, I don't.
Oh.
I can hang on a tree.
I have so much fun here with you.
I know.
It's
a
like
good time.
escapism. When are they going to play our commercial? I want to hear it.
We'll find out.
Like I actually thought we were playing it today.
Evidently.
That would be no.
That's a big no.
That would be a negative.
It's coming.
What's up for you for this weekend?
Out to Pennsylvania, don't you know?
PA.
Just going to take it as it goes. It's
PU.
been 2 weeks, and I need to be there.
2 weeks.
Yep. I stayed home with Daddy-O this week, and he and I went out last night.
I saw that Red Lobster. First
Red
of all,
Lobster.
I love you dearly. Red Lobster, man. That's like the worst seafood on the planet.
Not my choice.
That's Daddy's choice.
He loves it.
I'm going to take your daddy to New England and let him have real lobster, because Red Lobster is just
I've been. We went to the Bar Harbor, and we had
What did he have? What did he have?
Lobster rolls. They were wonderful.
Yeah, Bar Harbor. What did he have? What was it?
He had lobster tail.
Do you like it?
He did.
Wow. What'd you have?
I had the shrimp trio.
Oh,
the breaded shrimp,
Yep.
the scampi,
Shrimp.
and the Alfredo with the little wee small ones.
Shrimp, Alfredo shrimp, scampi,
shrimp, fricassee,
shrimp gumbo,
shrimp gumbo. That's about all the shrimp there is.
Yeah, shrimp. So that's what you had. Did you have the best thing about Red Lobster? And I am a seafood snob because I am from Boston, so you know that. But the one thing I can say about Red Lobster that's good, those friggin' cheddar rolls are the shit.
Bomb diggity, yo.
Bomb diggity. I'll just go there and eat the rolls. That's really kind of the way it goes. But
yeah,
I'm just shedding. I need a haircut.
So yeah, we were going to do that
hairdresser.
last year at this time, but
What, a haircut?
no, the Red Lobster run for Father's Day. But someone got a little unwell and spent a couple of weeks in the hospital.
Oh. That would be you.
Sorry.
Red Lobster.
For the seafood lover in you. So he wanted to go, and he's like, listen, when do you want to go? I said, tell me. I said, you know what? Monday and Tuesday are good nights to go in the restaurant business. It won't be crowded. So we went last night, and
Fun.
it wasn't crowded. So that's a
And you
little,
had your biscuits?
yeah. Oh sure.
Oh, they're so
Oh
good.
please stop! I
They're
had biscuits
so
like crazy.
freaking good.
I shouldn't have them so much anymore, but yeah,
I'm just thinking about those biscuits. You know what's good? There's a place. I'm trying to think of the name. Not Outback. It's like it was one of the steakhouses. They had rolls with cinnamon butter. Oh no.
Lone Star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cinnamon butter.
Yep.
Oh
Yep,
my
yep.
God.
So good, but not so good for you. But
No. Well, you know what the problem is? They bring that out, and you're eating like
You can't
5
eat
pounds
your-
of bread, and
you
then your
can't eat
food
your
comes,
food.
and you're like, oh, I'm full.
Have a box, please.
I'm full.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make some cinnamon butter. I like that. Maybe I'll make some tonight and put it
How
on
about
some
you?
bread.
What's up for the weekend?
What am I doing this weekend?
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe hit the beach or are we supposed to have good weather?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Tomorrow's
Well-
going to be sketchy, kind of bad, but Friday, Saturday, Sunday should be good.
Well, I'm off. I'm off until in July. I start my summer classes, which is going to be Monday nights. So I'm going to be just tired. But I'm going to start my summer classes, teaching
Some are here, some
4
are there,
hip hop
some are-
classes from little kids all the way to teenagers.
Hip
Good
hop,
luck to
thanks
me.
a lot. Come on, everybody.
Good luck
Give
to me
what
and
you
my
got.
and it's at my new school, so I got to impress. So I've been looking for music. So, but that doesn't start till July. So just enjoying my Saturdays until they're gone away, which will
I
be
agree.
September. So,
I agree.
you know, maybe go to New York, maybe go to Boston, maybe go to Atlantic City.
Why not?
I do have to take a day off on a Wednesday one day because I am going to do a little trip. So we'll figure that out.
We'll make it work.
You'll need it too. We'll need a little break this summer anyway.
Okay, it's cool.
But that's it.
That's it. All right.
That was
Well,
fun.
Here now.
Gone tomorrow. No, wait, sorry. What?
Here now, a 6.5 day
Oh.
break. Don't go away. We'll be
Come
right back
back.
next Wednesday. Up next is the
Animal House.
Animal House with Carlo and Paul and Tim
Gisella
and
Bella.
Gisella and the whole
Gisella
Hee-Haw
Bella.
gang. Always a fun time at the Animal House show.
Yay,
But
Tim
for right
Eli's
now-
funny.
Yeah.
He makes me laugh.
He makes me laugh a lot.
I saw a picture of Tim with his daughter when
Yes.
she was born. You see how young he looked?
Yep.
He looked like a swinging disco
Same
kid.
hair, though.
Yeah. Same hair, but he had that like real young like disco look.
He did.
I thought he was going to be out in the store in a white in a white suit like John Travolta.
Barely alive.
Barely alive. Anyway, I don't
That's
know.
it. That's
All right.
all we got tonight.
You think
Thanks for
they'll
coming
play?
in
You
to
think they'll
Real
play the
Time.
music
What's
on
that?
time? You think they'll
I
play
don't
the
know.
music?
You guys got the music teed up and ready to go because that's all of it for Real Town. I am John,
I'm Tracy.
and we will catch you next time in
On
the
the flip
town that's
side.
real.
Real Town.
Peace. We out.
We out. I don't think he's paying attention though.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they know that we're off the air. What should we do?
Are you paying attention out there?
Are they listening to us?
No.
They totally aren't because
It's a coffee clutch out there.
They're just talking.
Yeah.
We could just sit here and wait.
A pretty girl
They're talking.
is like a memory.
So how's it going? You doing all right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
all
All
right.
right. Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Jane!
Thank you.
Bye. This is it, the night of nights. No more rehearsing and nursing a part. We know every card by heart. Overture. Curtain lights. This is it. We'll hit the heights, and oh, what heights we'll hit. On with the show, this is it.
John and Mitzi were getting kind of itchy just to leave the